see it, the secrets of that. But, you know, that archetypal devil, the devil from that movie, that's what the devil looks like. The devil looks like a sweet little old man with an ice cream cone. You ever wonder why in almost every photo he's got an ice cream cone? He'll be on the news and go, hold on, and start licking an ice cream cone. It's all a sick gimmick. See, I'm an advertising guy. I mean, that's what I am. Instinctively, I went to school, but I don't use tricks to sell. I use the truth to sell. I'm like a guy who's a magician who tells you all the tricks. All right, I said I'd go to your calls. I'm just really freaked out right now. I'm really freaked out right now. Let's go ahead and go to Trey, and then David, Eric, Robert, Duncan, Chris, Phil, Ed, Leon, Rob, Andrew, and others. Trey, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hi. I wanted to ask, is it true that our birth certificates have been put up for collateral?
Yes, it's true. Yes, and your blood's taken at birth for 40 years. I covered it 17 years ago. It's all declassified. DNA databanks. They say you're owned. It's called human resources. It's hidden in plain view. You are seen as coal. You are seen as trees. You are seen as a resource, as an animal, by these people. Yes, you are held as collateral by the Federal Reserve, by Warren Buffett. Go ahead.
So that makes us enslaved?
Yeah, and I don't like it. I mean, it'd be one thing if I was a slave. They put cancer viruses in vaccines they push on little kids. These are horrible people. See, they've already stolen the whole world. They don't like having to take care of us. They want to kill us now. You got that? God bless you, sir. Yes, we're enslaved. Well said, Trey. God bless you. David in North Dakota, you're on the air.
Well, hello, Alex. Thanks for taking my call here. Just listening to that last caller there is there's so many things to say here, but I just want to make a couple of points. As far as the IRS and especially the IRS, I suppose, and the Federal Reserve, what people have to understand about that whole entity is that the people are actually funding their own destruction. And I find it rather odd that when I talk to people that they don't understand that, and they really don't understand fractional banking and how this whole system works, and they really are destroying us financially.
Well, I'll say this: I blame the elite for the conscious evil, but I blame the general public because they're dragging me along with them for like going, whatever, I'm lazy, folks. Exactly. That you better find out the difference between a U.S. note and a Federal Reserve note. You better, because our forebears weren't perfect, but they wanted freedom. They'd fight to have it. So look at all the liberty we got. 5% of the world's population had half the wealth, Bubba. Why is that?
That's very true. See, I just want to make a couple of more points here, if I can, as far as just a couple of things. As far as laws that are passed and that come from Congress, from what I understand or from what I read about it all is that any law that's passed that is unconstitutional really isn't a law.
Yeah, Marbury versus Madison plus just basic human rights, Magna Carta 1215. Yeah, Congress passes a law saying that Obama can murder children on the White House lawn. It's null and void. They pass a law saying the president can secretly arrest and kill citizens. It's null and void. It is the arrest warrant for treason. It is the proof of their criminality. That's right, waging war on corruption, crashing through the lies and disinformation. I didn't get to this today. I mentioned it. I'll cover it more tomorrow. Even the Hill newspaper admits the new legislation to hand the internet over to the Pentagon, the banks that run the Pentagon, CISPA, is the end of free speech, the end of property rights online. It's just SOPA 2.0, even worse. I'm going to go to your calls and jam in as many as I can right now. Just be ready with your comment and question. I apologize for not going to them sooner. I want to talk to you. I love you. The points you make are incredible. I'm honored by the amount of listeners out there. I'm humbled. And I just get into a maniac mode here, but I don't apologize for that. We need to. Here is the first 50 seconds from my 3-hour tour de force martial law, 911 Rise the Police State. 2004, this is the voiceover I wrote, and the narrator predicting what we're now living in just 8 years later. Here it is.
In the early years of the 21st century, terrorism was used by governments across the world as a pretext to scare their populations into submission. Life became a surveillance grid nightmare, with every individual's actions ruthlessly catalogued and recorded by the state. Secret arrests, checkpoints, and warrantless searches spread. The final incremental march of the police state, culminating in open martial law. This is the story of how the elite sold their people into slavery and scared the once proud and brave people of the West into submitting to being cannon fodder in wars for world domination.
Our enemies have made clear.
That's martial law, 911, rise of the police state, 3 hours of total documentation. Go watch it online. Just type it in. It's millions of views. Nothing like our Valhalla, Obama deception and other films, but it's reached a lot of people. Resistance is victory. Let's go to Dave in North Dakota. Dave, you're on the air.
Thank you, Alex. I just want to make one more point here. You know, in this info war, or whether it be a physical war or an info war, I think people need to know who their enemy is as well. You know who the enemy is, so that you can win the battle. I mean, it's really hard to win a battle unless you know who your enemy is. And then I'd encourage everyone, to read the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Federalist Papers. And
yeah, what's going on, I got to jump, is totally illegal. Make no mistake. People ask, they're violating the Constitution. They've already butchered it. And with it, all our protections. We're just like somebody in Mexico or North Korea now, unless we stand up and say no. I mean, folks, if you don't say no now, you were warned. Good points, Dave. Eric in California, got to move quick. Go ahead. Welcome.
Yes, Alex, I'm a thankful and proud member of Prisonplanet. And my point today is I think that we're jumping the gun with the impeachment of Barack Obama, and I believe that we should be moving more towards throwing him out as an ineligible incumbent to reverse.
Sure, but the courts, obviously he's not who he says he is. He's got 3 other names. Everything's shielded. It's all been proven fake. But again, the fact is he launched wars, and Congress said you've got to get approval, and he said, no, I don't. The UN is my boss. That violates the Constitution on its face. Totally impeachable. Get rid of him.
But don't you think that maybe they want him impeached so that they can keep these court appointments in?
No, they would have impeached him if they wanted him impeached. Do you see the establishment trying to impeach him?
No.
Well, listen, he's probably going to get another term. I think Romney's a ringer. Romney supports everything he supports. He's a different color. He's from a different area of the country, but that's the only difference. All these conservatives going, I like Mitt Romney. He's not for Obamacare. He wrote the model of it. I hear people on talk radio going, he'll repeal it. Oh, man, the elite want this. Obama and Romney are puppets. Why do we then impeach a puppet? To punish the globalist and let them know we're not going to put up with it. We've got to start punishing these people. People are like, well, Bush did stuff like this. Yeah, and it's getting worse under Obama. What's coming next? It's like, well, they've been taking our rights for a long time. Yeah, and it's getting worse. Good points, though, Eric. I appreciate your call. I got to jump. Robert in Florida, you're on the air. Go ahead, Robert.
Well, Alex, thank you very much. I have been listening to you for about 5 years. I've lived 30 years in Mexico. I have had my merchandise confiscated by the Queen and donated to Jersey Island. I saw the special on the Jersey Island also. I got so much to tell you. I just can't do it in 3 minutes. I'm sorry.
No, but you've been gang raped by the New World Order, and you don't care if Warren Buffett's got an ice cream cone.
I've been looking for 25 years for the answer. I've been looking for 25 years, and you've helped me get it the last 5 years, and now you're about all we listen to. So
well, God bless you, and thanks for putting up with it.
And I download you and put you on CDs, and we don't get in the car for 3 minutes without turning you on.
How did you find the show?
Well, it started out, I found David Icke about 3 years before I found you. But it started in the late 90s and traveling from Mexico up to the States by car. I would pick up coast to coast, going through the mountains, and I'd stop and listen to it. And from there it grew, and then I heard you on Coast to Coast once, and there was a battle like between you and David Icke at the beginning some years back, and then you reconciled, which I'm glad to hear.
David's on Tuesday. You're beautiful, and I love you. Closing comment.
Okay, closing comment. We can't stop, we can't give up, and we got to get Ron Paul as president. There's
exactly. Well, I want to say something about Ron Paul, and thank you for the call. He wins by running and injecting ideas. They stole the early states. He was the front runner. All the polls and numbers showed it. They stole it. Then people say, well, he's not winning. I'll go to Romney. And so now he's not really winning. But he was winning early on. They did steal it, Maine, Iowa. That's total fact. But, again, we gained ground each time, and we woke folks up. Most people now know the Federal Reserve is private. People didn't know that years ago. It's very, very exciting. And by the way, I owe a lot to Coast. That's one of the most common things we hear is people first learned about us, Coast to Coast AM. That's on many of the affiliates we're on. Who's up next here? Duncan in South Carolina. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Alex?
Worldwide transmission.
Hey, I've been following you for about 15 years now, and I've been watching the New World Order since the mid-'80s. There's only one thing I want to say, and that is that we have divorced God from our reality, and we don't see God's hand in the movements that are taking place.
No, we've made government our God, and if you don't believe in the devil, fine, but this government might as well be the devil. So absolutely, you're right. It starts when we get on our knees. The problem is, went to church this morning, they were worshiping the police state. So the churches have been taken over.
Well, that's not the point I want to make. The point I want to make is that God has a heavenly agenda that supersedes the New World Order agenda and relegates it to just a sub part of God's heavenly agenda. And God's agenda is being worked out, but we don't see it because we have divorced him from our reality. And now,
I agree with you. I agree with you. This is a test. The evil is there to separate the wheat from the chaff. Great points. Jamming another. Chris in Wisconsin, trying to get to everybody here. Of course, we won't. Chris, go.
Hi, Alex. I talked to you the first time about a year ago where I read you my script for the New World Order Fails video regarding the Hutari tribe, and they've been back in the news lately. And in the same spirit of preemptive defense, a few months ago I heard some really awful, slanderous lies about someone I've respected for a long, long time on the radio, so I started up a blog instead at WordPress.com, and it's called I Punched Out Jesse Ventura. So it's ipunchtedoutjesseventura.wordpress.com.
Yeah, that's just a total psyop. It turns out News Corp published that book saying that, and they never told people they were selling the book, or it was their imprint when they had that guy on. And Ventura says he's going to take legal action on him. Great point. Let's jam in another here. Phil in Boston, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex. How are you?
Good, sir.
Hey, listen, you've won the argument. I can't find anything wrong with your argument at all, but more people need to hear the message. And I think the number one thing a guy's going to look at is a pretty girl, so I'm calling for a Miss InfoWars contest.
All right, I'm going to be honest with you. We're trying to hire a male and female reporter, $10,000 in prizes. It's the InfoWars reporter contest. Just Google it, you'll find it. And we've had like 5 women enter it and like 400 men. And yes, we're going to hire female reporters, not just on looks, but on their brain. But I agree with you. We need women in the InfoWar. So calling women, join the contest, get involved, do whatever. We're looking for the females in the InfoWar fight. It's that simple. Great point, sir.
And there's nothing more, attractive than an informed woman who knows how to actually take care of her kids, feed them good food.
There's nothing better than a mama who loves liberty and loves those babies and hates the scumbag Warren Buffett ice cream demon.
To be redefined.
Oh, I tell you, there's nothing better. All right, God bless you. Listen, I'm sorry to Ed and Lennon and Rob and Andrew. I'll get back to you tomorrow. Call me. I love you. You're awesome. I'm going to take a bunch of calls tomorrow, which means about 5 calls. But the point is, 11 a.m. Central tomorrow, Infowars.com. Big videos up on the site. Get them out to everybody and defeat this Warren Buffett baloney rule. He wants your money. Right now, the average family wants your money. 1/4 of their income.